sports fans, sports collectors, and all hobbyists. Welcome to the Car King Sports Variety Show. I'm the Catman, Brian Cataquet, a.k.a. the Car King. We are live on KMET, 1490am.com. Number one spot right here for news and talk on the West Coast. Now, for those of you looking for an all-star picture for your man cave, you got to visit JamesBennettArt.com for an incredible once-in-a-lifetime sale of prints, original oil paintings, and more. From the award-winning artist has appeared all over, from Major League Baseball to ESPN to Cooperstown to the NFL and everywhere else. If you can't find your favorite player, James will be happy to create it for you. Visit his site at JamesBennettArt.com, or you can click on my landing page for more information. The Chuck Oliver Show can be heard on 680 The Fan Atlanta. Joining this program is host of the popular Chuck Oliver Show, Chuck Oliver. Chuck, Brian Cataquet, thank you so much for being with me on KMET Radio.
Yeah, I appreciate the invite.
Chuck, tell us a little bit about the show you do and how long you've been doing it for.
Well, it's certainly not out of California. It is a 52 weeks a year college football only show. We do it 5 days a week. It's on 48 stations every day. Mostly in the south part of the country, from basically Louisiana over to Florida, up around Kentucky. And we've been doing this syndicated program for almost 5 years. We started at the beginning of the 2014 season. And I've been in radio in Atlanta since 2000. So this was just kind of a natural extension, given what, the folks in the South really want to hear about. So it's college football.
Yeah, definitely. And now I was going to ask you, how did your broadcasting career begin?
Well, way back in the day when I was in college, I did college radio. But, the requirement is you knock on the door and you keep showing up. You can do college radio. And when I graduated, I was coaching football and teaching English and just kind of meandered into a writing career because that had always kind of been my slant. And so I started writing full time and had a bunch of freelance clients, wrote a few books. And through a bunch of different coincidences, I wound up getting offered a job to talk college football on the radio in Atlanta. And that was in August of 2000. And so now it's almost 20 years later, and I do radio and TV. And just if it's about, college football in the South, then I'm usually there covering it.
Yeah, no, I've read you're known as the king of college sports talk. Is that correct?
King of college football, yeah, and that's actually a name that program director came up with about 16, 17 years ago, and I was like, oh, no, let's not use this. And he's like, no, he's like, I've been in this business 20 years, and I haven't met a host that knows as much and has the recall and, knows the game and whatever else. And I was like, well, that's all well and good, but are you sure you want to do this? He's like, absolutely. And so they trademarked it and everything. And so, I tell him I've got a very narrow set of skills, a very narrow expertise, and as long as it's just college football, sign me up. I can probably stay employed.
Yeah, no. Now what challenges do you encounter on a day-to-day basis? Anything you can share with us?
Are you talking about, like, as far as hosting the college football show?
Yeah, as far as hosting, as far as getting guests on the show, do you have any challenges with that?
Yeah, see, that's the funny part, and that's a question a lot of people have that, not during August, September, October, November or so. But, Chuck, it's the middle of May. It's June. What are you talking about with the college football show? There's always something, whether it's a transfer or a coaching change or recruiting news or the interviews we do. It's a 2-hour show every day, and we'll usually have an interview guest the first hour. The second hour, we have a bunch of coaches on, sports writers, play-by-play men. It's just a little something for everybody, but it's all about college football.
Now, the best guest you ever interviewed and why?
Steve Spurrier, because he called us and wanted to be on. And I've always been a huge fan of Steve Spurrier. I did not go to Florida, didn't graduate, don't buy tickets. I'm not a booster, but I've always loved Steve Spurrier. And we're on in Jacksonville and Gainesville and Ocala and a bunch of places in Florida, Tallahassee. And so we actually got a contact for him. And he said, I've been waiting for you to call because I listen every day and had never been asked. And I was like, well, I didn't think you'd want to come on. He was like, ask me, I'll come on anytime. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So we had Spurrier on again last week when he was announcing that he's opening a new restaurant down in Gainesville. So probably my favorite guest, Steve Spurrier.
Now, are you a car collector?
Absolutely. I have been since I was in second grade is when I bought my first pack of 76 tops.
76 tops. What do you think of this card, quote, scandal that is going on?
It's not surprising to me that it exists. It's going to be shocking, I think, eventually to most observers just how widespread it is. And just on its face, without any other information, my opinion, based on the volume of cards that go through PSA's office to get evaluated, just the volume, according to their own president, it's 2 million cards a year, which is about 6,000 cards every day, the entire year round, including Saturdays and Sundays. Just based on the volume of it, it doesn't seem likely that they're able to do even a competent job, much less show any sort of expertise. And so the fact that doctored cards are slipping through the quote, professional graders, that doesn't surprise me at all. I think as this list continues to grow and we see some of the specific subjects that have been altered and resubmitted and then received a higher grade, there's going to be a lot of folks out there that don't have the card that he or she always thought they did.
Yeah, now, Chuck, last week's show, I said it here on this program that grading services, in my opinion, can help in determining if a card is authentic or not. Now, as far as grading is concerned, I don't take their word 100% serious or accurate because, as you know, grading is very subjective.
Absolutely, and it's funny. I mean, it's like you have been privy to some of the conversations I've had off air because I've said the same thing, that the ironic part about this scandal is it is cards that have been altered. It's not simply, and by the way, I mean, there are wild inconsistencies in my opinion. A lot of the PSA cards I look at, wild inconsistencies between what's a 6, what's an 8, what's a 7.5.
I agree.
Just on the grading, there's plenty to cock an eyebrow about, but I agree with you 100%. I can grade a card. I've been looking at cards since 1976. I know centering, I know corners, I know surface gloss, I know gum stains, I can evaluate what condition a card is in. The funny thing is, the only reason I would ever want to use PSA or anyone else is to tell me that the card hasn't been trimmed or altered, because I don't have the equipment to figure out that stuff.
Right. No, I agree with that. We're talking to Chuck Oliver. Now, Chuck, what do you think about this shill bidding that there's been reports on? Do you think that that's a big problem in our industry? What's your opinion on shill bidding?
Oh, I believe it's extremely widespread, and I don't think I'm an overly cynical or negative person, but for anyone who says, "Oh, it can't be that big," my response would be, "Why wouldn't it be big?" Because it is a common practice in just baseball cards or collectibles, but whether it's art or jewelry or anything on auction, it's not a new scam for the person or the company that is conducting the auction to kind of goose the bids themselves. That's nothing new. So again, I'm looking around at all the clutch the pearls responses from people, and I'm thinking, this has been happening since the Mayflower landed. It's nothing new.
Right. Now, I also read that it's not only PSA. There are other companies involved, like even Beckett.
Absolutely. Absolutely true. PSA is the gorilla in the room. And it's also, because of the volume with PSA and more of the high-profile cards, it seems that most of those seem to go to PSA versus either Beckett or any other grading service. And when you see a 52 mantle, when you see a lot of the star hockey cards from the 50s that have been affected, a Jim Brown rookie card, most of those are, at least by my observation, seem to be in PSA holders. And so that's why, in part, why PSA is getting most of the attention here.
Yeah. Now I also read that Ken Kendrick, the Arizona Diamondback owner, he owns that Honus Wagner card, which he paid close to $3 million. And there's reports that he said that he's been offered $10 million for the card. So do you think the general public really cares if this is what's being reported, that he was offered $10 million for a card that technically is altered?
Absolutely, because the general public will never make a $10 million offer on a card. That is one billionaire likely talking to another billionaire, and I know Kendrick is. Plus, the card itself has kind of gone beyond. It's almost like a symbol now. It's almost like, did you ever see Pulp Fiction?
Yep, I did.
Okay, we never really found out exactly what was in the briefcase. We just thought, wow, it must be really important. That's almost what the condition of the card and the fact that it's been trimmed, that almost has become secondary to the notoriety of it's almost like it doesn't matter what's in the briefcase now. It doesn't matter what's in the holder. It's the one that Wayne Gretzky had. It's serial number 000001. It's the most famous baseball card, not just the image, the T206 Wagner, but that one has become the most famous. And everyone except PSA will acknowledge, even Ken Kendrick has talked about it being trimmed. Everyone except PSA will acknowledge, yeah, that card was trimmed.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess, if it's a very rare card, maybe certain people won't care. But that's that's so limited and rare. So I guess maybe people won't care as much, but it's definitely a problem going on. Now, what's your feeling on eBay? Do you like to buy? Do you sell items on your own?
Occasionally, a couple of times a year, I may sell a jersey or, again, occasionally there'll be a collectible. I'll have a bobblehead that I've been able to upgrade, get a nicer condition one. But for the most part, I'm a buyer on eBay, and I'll say 9 times out of 10, I'm buying a baseball card, and 9 times out of those 10, it'll be a raw card, not graded at all. I only buy a graded card when there's, like, I've been collecting the 1972 Top Set, and if you can find card 170, it's Vita Blue in action. If you can find card 170 from 1972, buy it. It's about a $3 card, but you won't find one that's centered, and it's not even the corners of the gloss or whatever. That's just one example. You won't find it centered, and so a lot of the graded cards, if there's an 8 or a 9, it may be $150 for what is, quote, supposed to be a $3 card. So if I find a Vita Blue 1972 in action, card number 170, and it's graded, I'll hold my nose and I'll try to buy the card, not the flip, not the holder, not the little piece of paper in there that says 8.5, because I don't care what the number is. I can look at the card and decide for myself if it's good enough to have in my collection. But occasionally I will buy a graded card when I have just exhausted every other possible option, and the first thing I do is crack it out of its holder.
Now, do you attend card shows? Have you been to the National Convention?
I have, actually. I started collecting, like I said, back in 76, and probably by about 1978, 79, I mean, I was cutting every blade of grass in my hometown. My dad would take me to shows, and then I got out of it probably early 90s, about 1990 or so, when it was real clear about the overproduction and what was happening with the industry. I didn't jump back into it really until about 6 years ago, summer of 2013. And so I started going back to the National, and I've gone to each of the Nationals except the one in Atlantic City. And I'm heading there again in about 4 weeks.
Cool. Now, do you like the vintage cards, the pre-50 at all?
That's really the run that I'm completing right now is a Topps run from 65 to 72, as well as I'm working on 58 Topps. I'm working on the 52 Redman cards. I'm actually collecting 65 and 69 Topps football just because I like the designs. And so there's a little something in there for everybody, but it's mostly like 90% baseball, and it's 1972 and older.
We're talking to Chuck Oliver, the king of college football. Chuck, going back to your show, what topics do you enjoy covering and why?
Well, it's the Southeastern Conference. They kind of, drive the thing when it comes to college football, especially in the South. But like when the Big Ten Network launched, or the Longhorn Network, or the ACC Network is going to launch in August, there's a footprint of the network, and it's going to be where the conference is and plus a few surrounding states. When the SEC Network launched in 2014, it was Key West to Alaska. It was a nationwide rollout for the Southeastern Conference. So that's nothing but football. It wasn't hoops, it wasn't tennis or golf or gymnastics or anything else. And so we probably cover about 70% of what we talk about as SEC.
Now, how do you keep informed with the news? Do you browse online? Do you get the newspaper? Like, what's your process?
To prep for the show?
Yeah, to prep for the show.
A lot of times I have a few go-to websites just in general. LandryFootball.com Chris Landry's a guy who used to be an NFL scout, got 3 Super Bowl rings, been in the thing for, 35 years. Now he has a college and pro football website where it's a network of scouts and contacts and all that. I'll start there every morning. I'll go around to a bunch of other websites. I'll start texting people I know with different programs. Hey, there was something in the Lexington paper about Kentucky's linebacker who got hurt, and so I'll be able to text somebody up there. Is he really hurt? Is it a grades thing? Whatever. And so you just kind of, work the sources and read general information that's available to everybody and see if that's what it is, or if there's something else, and then you just show up and turn on the microphone.
Now, do you have any opinion on the Rick Singer issue with bribing college coaches?
Say that again?
The Rick Singer issue, the rise of Rick Singer. Are you familiar with that story?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he was like bribing college. He was.
Oh, okay, the West Coast. Yeah, absolutely, with the placement service.
Yeah. What do you think?
Okay, absolutely,
about that?
I know what you're talking about. Here was my takeaway in the moment. Yes, it's wrong. Yes, it's criminal, even to the felony level. But if anybody is surprised that rich people are getting special privileges for their children, again, that's been going on since the Mayflower landed. It happens to involve college admissions, but This is what wealthy folks do for their kids in every area of their lives.
Yep. And now, this is my final question. What's your feeling on that extraordinary high school athlete, let's say, who's being scouted? Do you feel that they should finish college, or if they have the opportunity to sign that pro contract, should they go for it? What's your opinion on that elite high school athlete that has a chance to make it to the majors?
It will vary by sport. If you're a 14-year-old soccer player, well, there's already something in place for you to play against elite competition. If you're a 14-year-old tennis star, it's the same sort of thing. If you're a football star, it's way different. Baseball probably as well. I will say, as a bird's eye view, 10,000-foot view, I will treat a student athlete in college just like someone who doesn't play sports and happens to be majoring in biology. If a company comes calling for you after your sophomore year and you're that biology major, absolutely you can leave school and, quote, turn pro. It's a little different, certainly, in some sports where, the physical aspect, I can put my hands on you and move you to a different piece of earth. That's what football is. So that's a little different. But in general, I want to view you the same as I do every other student on campus. If you want to make your deal and leave school, go for it.
Now, Chuck, before I let you leave, if you want to mention to our audience the time slot that you're on, your station, go right ahead. You have the floor.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, just follow me on Twitter. It's KingCFB on Twitter. And I guess West Coast time, we're on 9 to 11 every day. I'm on noon to 2 Eastern. And like I said, it's 48 stations now every single day talking college football. So if you're a college football fan, listen to the Chuck Oliver Show.
Well, I appreciate a few minutes. Thank you so much, Chuck.
No, I appreciate the invitation. Thank you.
Best of luck. That was Chuck Oliver, 680 The Fan in Atlanta. And, I wanted Chuck on the program to talk a little bit about this card scandal. And, he made a few good points, so I appreciate his time. Now, I wanted to speak a little bit about oddball-type cards if you're an investor and you want to make some profit. What is an oddball-type baseball card? An oddball-type baseball card, in my definition, is any limited issued card which has been created in a different shape, size, form than a regular size sports card. So oddball type cards were issued in limited quantities, for example, as compared to the major set of the year. So we could start. I've been very successful in making money buying Kellogg's cards. Now, Kellogg's, as we all know, is a food issue, and they tend to sell, for me, very well, also the Hostess baseball cards. So if you are a collector out there listening to the program, Hostess baseball cards And the Kellogg's cards are still very affordable, and you can profit on them. For instance, if you're buying Hostess baseball cards, they were issued in packs of Hostess cupcakes, Hostess Twinkies, for example. And the Hostess issue started around 1975. So they were issued in the back of, let's say, Hostess cupcakes in 3-card panels. And, for example, 1975, panel 1, you have Cookie Rojas, Darrell Evans, Bobby Tolan. So if you're able to find Hostess cupcake cards, you can buy those very cheaply at card shows, at flea markets, and they are very popular sellers for me. So the panel that you want to look for Hostess cupcake cards is from 1975 is anything with Robin Yount, because that was Robin Yount's rookie year. Robin Yount 75 Hostess card, I just sold one. It was in near mint condition, not graded, near mint condition, and I just got a couple of $100 for a 1975 Robin Yount Hostess cupcake card. And I was able to pay, believe it or not, $3. $3. So a lot of people that are selling Hostess cards, they're still sleeping on them. If you're able to pick them up, you can profit. Robin Yount is a good seller in the Hostess series. Another good seller is Bill Buckner. Anything with Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan is a hot seller in the Kellogg's and the Hostess series. Nolan Ryan's been selling for me very well. I had a panel of 1975 Hostess, 3-card panel, Nolan Ryan, Reggie Smith, Joe Coleman. I think I paid like $4 for that card about 4 or 5 months ago, and it sold on eBay for close to $100. Again, the condition was very nice. So Hostess cupcake cards are still affordable. You want to pick them up if you do see them. Now, Kellogg's cards, they're kind of a plastic type narrow dimension card. They measure around 2 1/4 inch by 3 1/4 inch, and they're plastic type issue. Those are very popular as well. The first year of the Kellogg's baseball cards were 1970. The 1970 Kellogg's baseball cards are the first year of the issue, and they tend to be very scarce. So if you're able to pick up these Kellogg's cards, again, they're hot sellers. You can profit online and make some money. And they're out there. There's a lot. I've been seeing a lot of Hostess, a lot of Kellogg's cards being offered at show circuits, at flea markets. So they're out there. These dealers that are selling them, I'm giving them some advice. They're still sleeping on their sales, because I'm able to buy them for a couple of dollars a piece in nice condition, and I've been able to turn it over for a nice profit on eBay. So if you're into Kellogg's and Hostess cards, again, they're still affordable. You can profit on them. Another oddball series that I like to buy, and I go after, and when I usually go to card shows, I tend to look for the oddball type cards. Another issue was issued by Fleer, was made by the Fleer company, and it's called the Laughlin. Laughlin cards, you do find them occasionally, and again, those are hot sellers for me, and you can buy them up and pick them up at an affordable price. So the first year on the Laughlin cards were 1967. They were called the 1967 Laughlin, Laughlin, World Series cards. It's a set of 64 cards beginning in 1967. And Laughlin, the entire series of Laughlin cards, they started from 1967 all the way to 1980. But the late 60s are more valuable if you're able to find them, and even into the early 70s. The 1972 Laughlin Greats, that's a set of 51 cards, and if you do find them, they have Hall of Famers included in the set. For example, Lou Gehrig, Joe DiMaggio, Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle. It's the 72 Laughlin Great. It's called the 72 Laughlin Great Feats, 51 card set, If you're able to find them, you can find them for under $1. For under $1, I've been able to find them for under $1. And again, like I spoke at my past shows, if you see a large lot of them offered, you always want to deal with the dealer selling it, haggle, and try to get a good price for them so you can profit on. And again, they're still affordable. They've been selling for me well online. Another issue is the 1974 Laughlin All-Star Games. So again, Laughlin, they started in 1967 all the way through 1980. The 70 cards, I've said it on this program, that's the year or the decade that you can profit on. They're still very affordable. When I go to a show, I love the vintage cards, the pre-50, the pre-30, but that stuff is so outrageous. The 1970 cards is where you can profit on, and I can't stress that fact. Now, I have 1 minute left, and I want to end it with, for those of you looking for an all-star picture for your man cave, visit jamesbennettart.com for an incredible once-in-a-lifetime sale of prints, original oil paintings, and more from an award-winning artist that has appeared all over, from Major League Baseball to ESPN to Cooperstown to the NFL and everywhere else. If you can't find your favorite player, James would be happy to create it for you. Visit his site at jamesbennettart.com, or you can click on my show site page for more information. Now, for those of you that are Yankee fans listening to this program, Yankee Collectors, a site that you want to check out is startspreadingthenews.blog. Great information for your Yankees content. I thank you, Chuck Oliver. Until next week, happy collecting to all.